What's up, guys? Today I get to take you on a little bit of my journey. One of the main reasons that I started this channel was to help young people explore the Christian faith. That's really what I'm here for. One of the other cool things that I get to do, though, is I get to help other youth pastors, other youth ministry workers, and parents as we all kind of disciple young people and help young people explore who Jesus is and what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus. So whenever I get a resource that comes across my desk, or if I see something, I want to share it with you guys. So today I'm actually excited to share with you a book that I just read that I think is phenomenal. It's absolutely essential if you are a youth worker, if you're a parent, if you're a student. I would even recommend it. So yeah, let's get into that. The book that I was reading is called The End of Youth Ministry, or I guess I should say The End of Youth Ministry. This book, absolutely amazing. It was the subtitle that actually got my attention. It says, "Why Parents Don't Really Care About Youth Group and What Youth Workers Should Do About It." Our parents love church. They want their kids to be discipled. They care deeply about their child's spiritual formation. But I think Andrew Root is saying what we're all thinking. And that is, like, we observe something. I gotta get out of the sun here. We observe something happening in culture today, which is that the calendar is just so filled with so many things. Like, the family calendar is just so packed with so many things to do, and unfortunately, youth ministry has just become another thing. And as a thing, it gets lower and lower and lower on the priority list. So when it comes down to, like, Johnny's failing math and he's behind on his homework, and yeah, it's a Wednesday night, it's a youth group night, guess what Johnny's doing? Johnny's doing his homework, you know? Or, like, is there ever a kid who is like, who, if their team went to nationals, but it happened to be the night that they were doing confirmation graduation or something like that, would be like, look, you know, guys, we've had a great season, but this week is my confirmation graduation, so I'm not going to nationals with you guys because, you know, spiritual formation is really important. We all agree that spiritual formation is important, and parents agree that discipleship of their young people is important. But then we live as though kind of these things are very easy to be pushed down on the list of priorities. Nobody's grading you, you know? Nobody's going to say, oh, you failed youth group, you failed spiritual formation, you know? And so it's really easy to kind of cut out the youth ministry types of things in our lives. And that's not a criticism. It's just an observation that Andrew Root is making. And so writing this book, I think, is so poignant to some of the challenges that we see in youth ministry. One of the things that Root points out in his book that I think is so fantastic is that we live in a culture that assumes identity is found in finding your thing. And so, like, there's just a mass proliferation of things out there, from sports to after-school activities to you name it, and finding your identity becomes finding your thing. But that's not really how identity works. Identity is formed in narrative, in story. And that's why the basketball team becomes important for a young person. Not because it's a thing, but because what did the basketball team do? What did they achieve together? And community and story are really the things that form that identity. And for Christians, as we read scripture, we realize that we're in an amazing position. If it's true that identity is formed through story, well, we have the ability to invite young people into the greatest story. Actually, like human history, like the story that God is writing for all of us. We get to invite young people into the biblical narrative that we are a part of what God is doing in this world. That is a powerful narrative. That is a powerful story for shaping identity that will then carry young people through the rest of their life. That right there is so key, and Root points it out in his book, I think, very brilliantly. So the thesis of the book, if you're into that kind of thing, the main point of the book is asking the question, what is youth ministry for? And the answer is youth ministry is for joy, which I thought was very interesting and kind of perceptive. Here is a quote that Andrew Root gave in an interview, and I will link the interview. Youth ministry is not just a thing. Youth ministry is for helping young people live into a deeper narrative of a God who is incarnate, crucified, and resurrected. And that is where we find identity. And that, I think, is something that is very powerful. The suffering of the cross, which delivers the real presence of God, produces not melancholy, but joy. For it invites us to participate, to be found in the very life of God. And that's the invitation that we give to young people, that God is very real, the presence of God is very real in your life, and your identity is formed by going on mission with God, by going through life with the very real presence of God in your life, and allowing those experiences and that story to shape your narrative, that it brings you into the story that God has been crafting throughout human history. And that's significant, that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. And that is an amazing thing, particularly, I think, right now, for young people to find hope and to find encouragement in that is great. So if you haven't yet read Andrew Root's book, The End of Youth Ministry, check it out, grab it off the shelf, borrow it from a friend, and dive into that thing. I think you'll be very encouraged by it. Thank you for checking out this video and being a part of this community here. I look forward to being with you guys in the next one. Produces not melancholy, dourness? Dourness? Is that a word? I'm gonna look this up. Anyway.